Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Of course, I am on the Business Funding Now page. My name is Real Talk Luana. A lot of you know me from the radio, television world and haven't really seen me in front of the camera for a while. Well, I have a special occasion. We all know that coronavirus has definitely impacted a lot of businesses when it came down to funding, when it comes down to having money, when it even comes down to paying your bills. So I am doing a one-on-one interview with the founder of Business Funding Now, Jeremiah Davis. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great over here, living the life being stuck in the house.
Yep.
Trying not to go crazy living in the house, but we're doing really, really well. So let's talk about what is happening in as far as small businesses go with coronavirus. Let's start there because it is definitely impacting businesses, especially small businesses, on a whole nother playing field that we have never ever seen. I mean, as long as I've been living, probably our grandparents been living, even our great grandparents.
Yeah, well, it's either one or three different categories. Um, Obviously, the worst one is you're totally shut down and don't know what you're going to do, which way to go.
Sorry about
Getting through
that.
this, if you're even going to survive until this is over. Um, and then there's the other extreme. Some businesses are blowing up. They might not. They might have had infrastructure for the online community, and they're still able to thrive. So there's some businesses that are thriving actually, and then there's those ones in the middle who are trying to make the adjustments and still keep their doors open and still keep some type of revenue coming in. So I, you know, I have clients on both all three categories. I have those that are doing great. I have those that are shut their doors, and it's affected all business types. I even have lenders who close their doors that do specialized financing for different products and services. That they're not going to just shut the doors and let everybody off. I don't know if they're going to open back up or not. But then I have other lenders that are beating at my door tomorrow. Hey, we're still lending, So it's unprecedented the things that we're seeing, but there is a way to survive this thing.
So well, first let's talk about the businesses that are actually thriving compared to the businesses that are struggling right now. In your opinion, what are some of the businesses that are thriving with COVID-19?
The businesses that are thriving with COVID-19, I wish there was a rhyme or reason to it, but I've seen, for example, I have this one client that he sells chrome polishing, for like RVs and motorcycles and things like that. And I think in the last month he's done nearly $200,000 in selling this chrome polish. So he's thriving. And 6 months ago he was doing $20,000 a month. So it was a combination of marketing, SEO, Amazon, and and just sticking with it. And now he's blowing up. Maybe because a lot of people are home and are able to just spend money on online shopping. And then some other businesses, obviously the big ones, Amazon, Walmart, the big box stores are doing well. The smaller mom and pop shops are, not maybe are struggling. I know in my community in a Nashville area, a lot of the restaurants are offering discounts that normally have foot traffic, and this is probably going on all over the country. But they're reaching out to their local communities and saying, "Hey, we'll deliver your food." And other businesses, Instacart, they're blowing it. DoorDash and Grubhub. So those are some businesses that was, probably I can't say they've seen it's coming, but they were already positioned for this this type of world we live in, where the convenience of ordering online and it being placed at your door, bringing it to your door. But hand sanitizer. I mean, that business is blowing up. It did, and I get stock reports, so I see the businesses that are seeing a increase in their value, and then I see those that are not. So it really, you just have to figure out if you're in a service based or a tangible product type business, to speak to your audience on getting your product to them. I mean, toilet paper. I mean, you know, all these little things like that. I've ordered masks. I've ordered all the stuff, hand sanitizer. I've ordered all these things online from different vendors. They got my money. So I would recommend to come up with some type of niche that will survive this and beyond. You know.
I think it's extremely, extremely important is to know what your niche is. So for those that have their business is literally waiting for the quarantine and their city to open up. Well, let's first talk about what it means to open up. Because just because you're telling us as a community that, okay, you need to go back to work because we need to get the economy back up, at the same time, is it safe to leave your house, right? Because again, we're not staying home just for us, but we're staying home for an individual like me. I'm, just had a baby, I'm breastfeeding and I also live with an underlying disease. So me catching something like coronavirus could be more fatal, right? Or you're staying home for your grandmother, your neighbor. So it's not even just about you, because there's a million cases and there's only been over 60,000 deaths, but it's about, let's be smart, right? So what does that mean to a business though? Like I know Texas, right? So now in the restaurant business, they have 25% where they can have 25% of people coming in inside the restaurant, and it has to be outside, right? So what does that actually mean for a business? Like, how do you get that money where you're paying your bills? Because yes, there's a lot of different programs out here, which we're going to go into all the different programs and what you can do, but are you really going to be able to pay your bills? Because a small business, you don't get paid vacation. You have employees. We are the break of the economy. Basically, that's where the money is coming from. So what is your insight on that?
Well, I would suggest if you are still open and you are still seeing revenue, to make the proper adjustments. Maybe you haven't put a lot of time and energy into your online presence, or your online marketing, things like that. Whatever technology you got to put in place to continue to operate at the level you was operating at prior to the pandemic and for whatever market that is, it might not be feasible for every market. Say auto mechanic, are not seeing a whole lot of foot traffic. Maybe you need to go do some home type of services. Institute that where you go into the person's house and I know there's services out there, but they're not like AutoZone. They're known for you can go there and get your battery tested, get some minor work done, but maybe they should institute a home delivery system where they come to your house and do that type of service. The things like that is you got to think outside the box, because I believe the pandemic will end, okay, but what's next? So I like to be prepared for any contingency, and maybe for some of the small business owners, maybe adding another stream of revenue, another product, another service, to insulate them from a shortfall in another area. It would be advantageous. It's not to put your eggs in one basket. That's an old saying, and it's still true today. Is be diverse enough to be able to withstand these turbulent times.
And I think that turbulent times is we have to understand what our options are, and we have to think outside of the box. With that, which you specializes in funding. So tell a little bit about how did you get involved in funding and why are you doing funding? And then we're going to talk about the paycheck protection loan. What does the SBA have to offer? And let's be real about the SBA. And then let's look into what are our other options, because businesses need to still stay afloat. They still have families to feed. And also, I know that a lot of states are opening up the unemployment if you are self-employed too. So I want to touch base on that as well.
Right. Okay. So the reason I got into this industry was mostly by happen chance. I've been involved with the banking industry for about close to 20 years since I got out the military. And it started with merchant processing in the industry. I did some lending as well, called merchant cash advances, and that kind of led me, to starting business funding now. I've been involved with a number of different industries that are not so much tangible products, but services, money services or credit services, things of that nature. And it was an easy transition for me when I left the as VP of another company and started my own business, which was business funding now. And so since that's been about 5 years now, and that has grown, and now I have a whole platform of different funding products and services, trying to reach most people in whatever state they see themselves. I mean, I can't fund everybody, but I like to say, I don't like to say no, I just like to say not yet. So if you're not fundable today, I give you a plan of action to get fundable within the next, say 30, 60, 90 days, depending on, the case by case situation. So that's kind of how I evolved into being the founder of Business Funding Now. And, this is, people, you can look at this time as in two different ways. It's tragic, obviously, but it's an opportunity as well to, get a foundation, secure your foundation, or build up your nest egg. And I try to tell most of my clients that's what if you're still getting a paycheck or you still have revenue money coming in, what can you do to increase your nest egg or secure your foundation? So we do personal loans, business credit. I advise people limitedly on personal credit, what they need to get a loan, and credit cards. I would advise anybody and everybody, if your credit needs work, get it done. If you can do it, get it done, so you can get a loan or get these lines of credit. I advise people on, if they don't really need the money, but they qualify, get the money. Get the money, get the additional credit cards. You don't have to use them. You can set them up and just let them sit there. All right, just as a safety net, just in case. Okay, so that's the message the Business Funding Now has for the public during this time. As far as the government and the different programs, that's a little bit more complicated because it changes day to day. As of right now, yes, the unemployment for those people who had the 9-to-5 W-2 employees are getting monies. I've heard a lot of people are getting money from the unemployment. Within the last week or two, the systems in a lot of states, it got, crashed because they was over inundated with so many people applying because the system wasn't designed for millions of people to apply at one time. So people got to review those files. They got to make sure, you've been paying into the unemployment insurance, and then, making sure, employers have the right to deny you. But I haven't gotten to the details, but I know there's money's going out for that. Now, as far as our entrepreneurs, there's criteria that has to be met for all the funding products the government has rolled out. And that's the sticky part that keeps changing. the requirements, the qualifications, things of that nature. For like the PPP, payroll protection plan, they had one set of criteria when it first came out. Then they ran out of money. Then they came back with another set of criteria, which on paper looked like less paperwork, so they can get more money out. But a lot of people still haven't received those monies, and now they have this additional stimulus plan coming out, and there's going to have to be more plans, stimulus packages, because it's just not enough money to get to everybody. The other plan.
Well, let me ask you something real quick. So there are things that with the stimulus, the $2 trillion package, right? Is that I know that there are businesses that should have not gotten it that actually got it.
Yeah.
What is your input on that? Because they're supposed to go to small businesses, and you heard Shake Shack, I think even American Airlines, and let's be honest, with a lot of small businesses, if you're going to Wells Fargo, let's say you got $5,000-$6,000 saved up in that account, or you're doing let's be honest, there's businesses that are only making $5,000-$6,000 a month, right? Or they're making 10 or 20,000. That bank is not going to approve that business over someone that's making $500,000. And that's what's keeping their bank running.
Yeah, and this is something that some people may know that are entrepreneurs and did research. Since the government didn't put out the criteria for the SBA loans, which all the other loans fall under, all of these loans fall under the SBA. The SBA still had a standardized criteria for qualifications, and these loans are issued by the local bank. And the local bank's like, well, if you don't have a line of credit or a previous loan with us, some established relationship as far as credit goes or lending goes, then you're not going to get approved. So
absolutely,
you didn't have a credit card with that bank or a loan with that bank, then you probably did not get any money in that first round. And then you can go to the IRS's website and check on any stimulus money that you applied for. Myself, as a business owner, I haven't filed 18 or 19 taxes yet. I'm working on that now, but when I go, it says no stimulus because one of the criteria is at least filing 2018 tax returns. So that's another caveat that it's just all these little details that widely publicized, and you have this rush of people going to try to apply for them, and then I can't tell you why all these big companies got the money and these little guys didn't, but it's it's typical. We shouldn't be that surprised that the big banks that publicly traded that got the money that probably didn't really need the money, got it before the mom and pop shops that employ most of America. So you have to find another solution.
Okay. So knowing your options, number one. So we need to know how important it is to know what your options are. So the Paycheck Protection Program, right? What is that loan? Do you have to pay that loan back? Number one, and break it down. Like, what is it? Because I know stuff is changing on a daily.
Well, initially it was an emergency loan that can be turned into a grant. All right. If you allocated those funds for your payroll, they had a criteria of what it can be used for. So for entrepreneurs, it can be for payroll, it could be for utilities, the operating expenses, but it was very specific on what it had to be spent on. And they will come back and, you would have to provide verification that you spent the money in those areas. And then up to 75% or 100% could have been forgiven as a grant. And then you wouldn't have to pay that back. But if you could not supply the documentation to support that you spent the money in the right categories, then you would pay it back at a very low interest rate over, I think it was 3 to 5 years. Don't quote me on that, but it wasn't going to break the bank if you had it.
No, I know that you get 6 months to pay it, which they think that the country is going to be back in full swing in 6 months. So that's another conversation.
Yeah. And then that was the PPP. The EIDL, the PPP was up to 10,000. The EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, was for a bigger business that you get up to $25,000, and it had the same criteria. But both of those fall back into the SBA guidelines, and then that back into your local bank, because you have to go to a local bank that offers SBA funding to qualify to get those.
Okay. And so are those easy to fill out, or is it difficult?
No, it's not easy.
Now you have this additional stimulus plan coming out, and it's got to be
Instant feedback
to qualify.
Okay. And so are those easy to fill out? So is that something that you would suggest for a small business? So should a small business go after that type of loan right now?
Yes. Everybody should apply for everything that the government is offering. And the reason I say that is because it does change day to day, week to week, and they are trying to get the money out to the people, into the hands of the people, so they can keep the economy going. But there's a lot of people like me and accountants and other funders that are actually doing the paperwork for you. Now, in the fine print, under such a clause, yada yada yada, and clause this and that, these companies are allowed to charge you a fee to do that paperwork. And I know people that are charging $250 to do the paperwork, but I also know people charging $1,000 to do the paperwork. And I mean, at the end of the day, I don't fault them for that, because it is a lot of time and effort and they should be compensated for their time and effort. So if it's too much for the individual to figure out, I mean, it's an application for the EIDL is about 8 pages. I got a copy of it. And it asks a lot of financial stuff, profit and loss, taxes, a lot of financial questions. And if you don't have an accountant, you should have one. Okay, if you're a business owner, and if you're,
with that being said, sorry to interrupt, but how important is it? Like, everybody thinks that just having an LLC, they don't have a business bank account, they're running basically, as I say, a ghetto business. And you're not going to get funding that way. You have to make sure you're doing your business taxes. You have to make sure that everything is up to date. You have a business account, even social media. I mean, I don't know if they go as far as looking to see if you're really a legit business, but they will look you up online like, hold up, do you have a website? Do you have these things? You can't go for funding and you're doing your business, as I like to say, is ghetto and hood. I think that it's going to go to that next level. It's not. Like, it's very, very important. And it's not fair for somebody that's kind of skipping out on not even they're doing everything through, let's just say, they're doing everything through Cash App instead of writing real invoices. It's not fair for you to go after and get that funding, and then the other person is spending all of this money over here and really is helping that economy. And you're not really helping that economy. You're not building businesses up, and you're not helping us grow, because you're trying to do everything under the table. I think that's something that we need to take into consideration when we're talking about small businesses, because everybody wants to say that they're a business owner and they don't have the income coming in and they don't have business credit. I know that one of the things with your company, with Business Funding Now, which, as you guys can see, is businessfundingnow.com, Definitely go down to the website and check out some of the blogs, because one of the things is when it comes down to the blogs, you're giving that information. You're talking about a Dun and Bradstreet number, how important that is. Like, you can't go after funding if you don't have that stuff together. Is that correct?
Right. No, I mean, quite frankly, for our purposes, for business lending, there are some areas that are a little bit more strict than not. As far as, I always recommend people have a professional email. Google is $5. A month. So get a professional email. Your business name at Gmail is not a professional email. Okay. Get a website, even if you have to do one yourself on one of those services that allow you to build your own. But try to be legit as far as funding. Yeah, the bank's looking at your phone number, your email address, your address, your website, all those things. And here's the reason why. Because there's too much fraud in the world. Okay. I'll be perfectly transparent. People come to me and want funding. And I will say, well, I need the last 6 months of your bank statements. And they will send me the 6 months of bank statements. Right. And I'm not a fraud detection expert, but I'll send them to the bank, and the bank sends me an email. And this has happened more times than I like to admit, but they'll say these bank statements are doctorate. And I was like, what? Huh? They look, and what they're doing, the bank is able to verify your deposits, right, in your bank statements. If they don't match up, and it's a thing now. It's a thing, so people can pull up their bank statements and put them in like a Adobe and edit the numbers and make it look like they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they got $20 in the bank. It's like that, yeah. And that makes me look crazy. We'll go back to you like, dude, why you give me fake bank statements?
And what about your credit? Like, what about credit? Because I don't think people realize how important, number one, business credit is. And also your personal credit. There's another thing we don't want to talk, especially as the Black community. We do not want to talk about credit, and we really get down and dirty when it comes down to credit, right? We don't want to talk about the fact that if your personal credit isn't together, you're not going to have no business credit, because they're going to look at your personal credit. It's very, very important. Like, this is the time, if your credit is jacked up, is to get with somebody to help you fix your credit before it gets too late and it costs too much money, or you never know what the government could do. You know what I'm saying? There's so many obstacles that are happening. We don't know what's ahead. Let's be honest when it comes down to with what's happening in the world right now. So does credit play a big role in the SBA funding?
Credit plays a big role in all things. Okay. If you can have $1 million business and 550 credit, and they're not going to give you no money. Okay. Unless you leverage a lot of collateral, which is not recommended, because they're only going to give you 40, 50, maybe 60, 70 on a good day % of the loan to value of that collateral. And then if you default, they've taken all that from you: your house, your inventory, your cars, your equipment, whatever you use for collateral. So I like to tell people, before you want to put something up like that, like your home, to get funding, you might want to fix your credit. Now, let me give you an example. I offer business loans up to $500,000 and the interest rate start at 4.99%. The terms usually go out from 3 to 5 years, right? For a legitimate business owner that can use $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, they can qualify for that. But here's the criteria. Your business needs to be up and going for at least 2 years. You need to have 2-year tax returns, and you need to be making $100,000 a year. Now, that is not a lot. That's less than $10,000 a month. Okay. All right. and you need a minimum of 660 credit score with no derogatories. So you got all the other qualifications, but you got a 599 credit score, and you're making $100,000 a year. You should probably invest in fixing your credit and paying your bills or whatever has got your credit jacked up. You need to get that. Nobody's going to lend to you. I can get you a high interest business loan. I call it simple interest business loan, but those range anywhere from 30-40% on interest rates. Yeah,
That's
and then they want their money daily or weekly. So you're not having monthly payments, you're having daily payments, and you're paying that money back within 9 to 12 months. But you know what? I get a lot of clients in that category, and I fund them. But I try to advise them. You need to build business credit. You need to fix your personal credit. We can get this money now, but let's use some of it to help you get business credit and fix your personal credit.
I think having your business credit is extremely important. So I know that that's something also that you offer. You help people when it comes down to the business credit. You help them clear up their personal credit if need to as a consulting service. And then on top of helping them get the funding. So they can literally come to business funding now as far as getting help how to fill out the loan applications through the SBA, which I know you're offering those services. But if they don't qualify, you can lead them into getting funding. And you have some great programs that actually became available because of COVID-19. What are those programs?
Well, like you said, we are assisting with the document completion for the PPP and the EIDL. So, I'm using my CPA, my personal CPA, that will fill out the documents and for a small fee, a minimal fee for her time to do that. That's on a case-by-case basis, because we can't overrun her with a bunch of, I can't give her 100 people here do this, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are a few banks that are offering somewhat higher interest on business loans, but they're deferring the payments for 60 days, which is awesome. So you can still, if you qualify for that particular, you need to be making $20,000-$30,000 a month to qualify for that. But to get the money and not have to make a payment for 6 to 2 months is that's unheard of in lending, okay? Because banks want their money back and they want it back as soon as possible. All right. And actually, this is a perfect time because my parent company, David Thorpe and Associates, is starting to offer to optimize people's credit for funding in-house. So we'll be able to look at your credit and see what we need to do and to give you the information you need to address it and give you a timetable, usually within, I would say, a month to 4 months to address those issues, and then you can get funding. We also have what we call bridge loans, right? So say you have good credit and you have everything else is in order, but you're overutilized, right? If you're over 50% on your revolving trade lines, your credit cards, you're using more than 50% of your limits, that's a disqualifier. So we can give you a bridge loan to pay those cards down. You don't have to pay it back until after we get to the standard funding. And then when you get to the $50,000 or $100,000, $200,000, you pay back the $15,000 bridge loan that we use to pay down your credit cards to qualify for the standard funding. So we have some options. Yeah.
So putting yourself in a position to actually have wealth, right? One of the things, if you're close with me, those that I have talked to, because I got a 3-week-old baby, so I haven't been chatting it up with everybody, but you know that this is a time where I say it's either for the haves or the have-nots, right? Because if we're going to be real and call what's happening right now with not just the U.S., but just in general with all across China. I don't care if you're talking about China, Australia, Italy. This is the time to know about investing, getting your credit together. And there is going to be a recession, number one, and there is going to be where the housing market is going to crash, because I don't care if all these cities open up, people are going to lose their houses because the government can only do so much. And if you don't have a safety net, you are going to be one of those have-nots. And they said, I've seen this meme. I don't know if you've seen this meme, but I've seen this meme go across where the poor is looking to buy toilet paper while the rich is looking to buy up stock, which I'm sorry, is completely true. So those that aren't so caught up on, hey, I need to have the latest fashions, I need to make sure that I'm spending money here, and they're not saving money. Like, let's be real with the stimulus check. How many of you went and bought this, that, and the third and didn't put the stimulus check as, hey, I'm going to go put this money aside and I'm not even going to touch this money? I can guarantee you, I could ask 10 people and there's probably 9 people that have already spent up their stimulus check.
Yeah.
Or you didn't have money saved for a rainy day because you're always expecting, you live paycheck to paycheck, right? Even as small business owners, you're barely making it by. So because you're barely making it by and you don't have a safety net, now you're in this situation. So you're not able to build your wealth. But if you take the time out to fix your credit, even if you don't need the money, go and get the programs that they're offering with the SBA. But even if there's other ways where you can get the money just to have it sitting over here so that you can use this time, whether it's to invest in education, invest in your business, and put yourself in a better position. Because I'm going to be honest, as those that know me, I know you, I have a marketing and branding company, and I'm telling people every single day, this is the time to get your website right. This is the time to blog. This is the time to make sure your social media is together. This is the time to educate you, write a book, whatever the case may be, and being able to have something tangible that people can buy. Because there is going to be, this is not going to stop once California opens or New York opens. It's just going to continue to get worse. And it has to get worse before it can get better. But you got to put yourself in a better position, as they say, to have generational wealth, right? They need somebody like yourself in order to put themselves in that better position, because we don't know everything, and stop acting like we know everything. And we need to stop trying to just sell something to people. What I love about business funding now is that you do get free information, even with your blogs. You're talking about the Dun and Bradstreet number. You're talking about, okay, where do I go next with my business? So you're giving the knowledge so that people can grow without them. They're not even clients. You're giving them the free knowledge. So it's important that they look at you as a resource and really look into how can you help them. Because I know that you have been a successful business owner. You have several successful businesses, and you know what it takes to make that first $10,000. So they need to take advantage of that and move forward. How do they contact you? And I know that we're going to be working on doing some weekly live where we're going to go forward with one topic at a time. But if they're interested in contacting you, I have the website, of course, Business Funding Now. Are they able to put something in? I know we have your social media, your Facebook page. How can they get a hold of you so that they can take that next level?
Yeah, the easiest way is going to the website, businessfundingnow.com, and just clicking on the appointment scheduler and finding a time that works for you. And me or one of my staff will be calling you at that appointed time. The calendar is already set for the times that are available. But in conjunction with what you just said, we also give you that advice over the phone. So when we help people get the money, we want to also give you the information and advice to how to manage the money. Because quite frankly, a lot of us have not seen, if I give you $100,000, the average person won't know what to do with it, you know, because they've never seen that much money at one time, even if it's just digitally in your bank account. But, you know, we like to advise you, don't go buy nothing stupid. Don't go spend it all on an investment property. Use it strategically to generate more income. Okay, banks love it to see you got good credit and money in the bank. They will give you more money. They will like, oh, you got $100,000 from, you know, ABC Bank. Well, let me give you another $100,000. You know,
you gotta
yeah.
know how to invest, and you gotta be smart with your money. They like to see that.
Yeah. And yeah, your personal credit shows that you're responsible with your resources and your finances. I mean, at the end of the day, right? We grew up saying cash is king. No, credit is king. Okay, and cash and credit is even bigger. Okay, so, but yeah, you can email me at info@businessfundingnow.com. You can message me for our Facebook page, Business Funding Now. Twitter is J Davis at 007, or on Instagram, it's the Funding Dude. But I'm not hard to find or get a hold of. And I can't reiterate enough. Call us, and even if I get you $25,000 to $50,000 and you set it aside, let me give you one scenario before we go. $50,000 at the interest rates are usually between 9 and 15%. At a monthly payment, say it's for 5 years. Okay, you're looking at less than $600 monthly payment, right? You pull the first 12 months of payments aside, right, which is roughly $6,000, a little more, give or take. But that leaves you the other money that's free and clear, so to speak, right? You use the money to pay the money back, but you use the rest of the money, as I said, strategically to invest, or even if it's buying stocks, if it's buying a tractor trailer, if it's buying a dump truck, if it's starting a restaurant.
Together.
Yeah.
Invest in your business, putting your business to that next level.
Yes, exactly. That's the type of information that we like to give you with your funding. Is what are you going to do with it? What's the strategy to use? You don't have to go buy a property with all the money if you want to get into real estate. What you do is put earnest money down, put it under contract, and then come back to us, and we have hard money lenders to do real estate investment deals. Use their money to get you, and then when you refi it or you flip it, you get the equity out, you make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, you pay the hard money back, and you do it again. And you never use all the money that you borrow. So it's just strategy.
It's all about strategy, you guys. It's all about strategy. So if you're not following Business Funding Now, make sure you're following Business Funding Now. Check out the blogs on the Facebook page. I mean, well, they're on Facebook and they're also on the website. There's a new blog that comes out every single Friday. There's different questions where all of Business Funding Now is all about being a resource for you. It's not just a lot of businesses, and I want to, because I see different people putting on here talking about how they do funding and things like that. Listen, we are not, as far as Business Funding Now, and I know because I work very closely with them, they are not a business that's just trying to run and get you into any type of loan to put you in a bad position, right? They're a company that is trying to help you get to that next level and to be able to create generational wealth, right? We always talk about we want to have that generational wealth. We want to know how the 1% gets to where they get. This is how they have strategic plans on how to get to that next level. So if you are somebody, like I said, that are looking to invest in yourself, number one, and you need to put yourself in a better position, make sure you contact Business Funding Now. They will help you get to that next level, whether it's with your credit, whether it's with funding, whether it's just consulting you and really taking you to the next level as a business owner. Well, I actually only expected this call to be for about 20 minutes, but we were just on there talking for about 45 minutes. So it was great. I know that we're going to be doing some more of these coming up, and we're going to hit with different topics. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, this is great. Thank you.
Well, it was great. Okay, we'll talk to you guys soon. Business Funding Now.